Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining us from, and welcome to Watabaruku Bilingual Advanced Toastmasters Club, the first bilingual and advanced Toastmasters Club in East Africa, District 114. My name is Kevin Rubia, and I am your presiding officer this meeting. Please let me know in the chat where are you joining us from, as I call on some of you to respond verbally. I'll start with the district leaders in the room, starting with our immediate past district director. Welcome, DTM Japheth. How are you in one word?
Excellent.
Excellent is a fantastic word to start off this meeting. Our other district leaders in the room include Division Director Wahiga Gichinga. Wahiga, how are you in one word?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for Division C Director. What of Area Director Christine Oyugi? What is your one word?
Awesome.
Awesome. Great. We have guests amongst us. We'll begin with DTM Brahm Memone. Brahm, how are you and where are you?
I'm doing outstanding. I'm excited, awesome. I'm in Canada, in a city next to Toronto. It's called Mississauga.
Mississauga. I wish that was the word of the day. Please type it in the chat for those of us who do not know how to write or read it. That is something I am learning today next to Ontario. Welcome. Hannah Schmidt. Welcome, Hannah.
Yes.
Where are you joining us from and how are you?
I'm very fine, excited, looking forward to it. I am from Namibia, but belong to District 86.
Wonderful. The pleasure is always ours. It's nice to see you once again after a long time. We will continue to interact throughout this meeting. Thank you so much for your messages in the chat. Nairobi City, Mississauga, and Namibia. I know by the end of this meeting, I'll get it right. I will proceed to tell us about the meeting protocol and etiquette. If possible, friends, let us make sure that our videos remain on throughout the meeting. This gives an opportunity for the speaker or the person on stage to have someone to interact with, as we are all virtual. Please put your microphone off unless you are speaking. And let's engage in the emojis, with emojis rather, and in the chat throughout the session. This is our renaming protocol. For all role takers, please start with the hashtag followed by your role and your name. For example, Timer, Amina, Amani as shown. For our evaluators, at Watabaruku Bilingual, we have 3 sets of evaluators. One to deliver content evaluation, another delivery evaluation, and lastly, language evaluation. The content evaluators, please rename as CE. For delivery, DE, followed by the number of your speaker, then an underscore with your name. Our grammarian still remains grammarian. If you are a Toastmaster and you do not have a role in this meeting, please start with the name of your club, followed by your name. Lastly, if you are a guest, meaning you are yet to join Toastmasters, Start with the word guest, followed by an underscore, then your name. Let me introduce you to our club officers at Watabaruku Bilingual Toastmasters Club. Today, we have our president in the room. He is going to be a speaker, and that is why I am standing in for him as the presiding officer. Kevin, let us know how you are in one word and say hi to everyone.
Good evening, good afternoon. Hi, everyone. My name is Kevin, and I am honored to be the club president of Watabaruku. I am amazing and looking forward to tonight's meeting. Back to you, presiding officer.
Thank you, Kevin. Apologies from the rest of our club officers, the Vice President of Education, District Director Robert Karanja. We also have our secretary, who also doubles up as a treasurer, Alligator Makori, who could not make it to this meeting. That said, today's theme is straight talk. Before I call on our Toastmaster of the day, I'd like to regale with you on what it means to be a straight talker, but animal style. We're going to play a short game. In the next 2 minutes, I'm going to say an animal, and I'd like you to tell me what sound it makes. For example, what sound does a cow make?
Moo.
Moo. Great. What about an ape? Anyone knows? Apes gibber. What about birds?
They chop.
Birds chirp. They're chirping, right?
Birds chirp. Yes. Thank you. Wonderful. Cats. What does a cat do?
Meow.
It meows.
Meow.
Fantastic. Thank you for the cat lovers in the house. What about chicken? The one that walk, not the one that are eaten.
They're clucking,
They do cluck.
except for the rooster.
What does the rooster do?
Kikeriki.
He crows. The rooster is crowing.
Aha, fantastic. Elephants, what do?
They trumpet.
Trumpets.
That's an easy one. What about donkeys?
They bray.
Donkeys obviously bray. And I hear someone trying to bray. Goats?
They bear.
Sorry?
They go bear.
What is that sound
They
called
bleat.
in
They
English?
bleat.
They bleat. And last and not least, grasshoppers.
They're hopping
jump.
around.
They hop, they jump, yes. What about the sound they make?
They're hoping you know what sound they're making.
They chirp just like birds. That's an interesting fun fact.
I know the time is up, but I want to ask,
Timer.
what does a giraffe do? I know the time is up, but what about giraffe?
Giraffes
Sort of grunt.
The cough.
I think the giraffe are mute, isn't it? They don't make any sound or something?
They don't make sounds, no.
Yeah, they're mute.
Mm-mm. They
apparently
don't make sounds.
they don't. According to what I have is that they bleat like goats, which is weird.
Okay.
Thank you for indulging me in that fun session. Onwards to our Toastmaster of the Day introduction. Japheth Musau DTM believes that ordinary people can achieve extraordinary results through the power of words. He developed this view as a result of his Toastmaster experience over the last 11 years. He is a member of Kwanza Kenya Club and has been an instrumental member of the Hill Toastmasters Club as a sponsor and Farafina Toastmasters Club, which speaks French, and Eastgate Toastmasters as their sponsor. He is a business communications consultant. He helps business owners and executives to curate conversations that create cash flow. Let me take that again. To curate conversations that create cash flow. He guides his clients to leverage on their unique communication persona by mastering 5 major keys to effective communication. Today, Japheth will lead us through an insightful and exciting session with the theme Straight Talk. His speaker persona is Direct Communicator. Over to you, Immediate Past District Director Japheth Musau, DTM.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, members, visiting Toastmasters and guests. Welcome once again to meeting 113 for Watabaruku Toastmasters Club. Today, we are going to cut the chase. No fluff, no filler, no filter, just straight talk. After all, I'm a direct communicator. I'm curious to know, what kind of communicator are you? Put it in the chat. If you know your communication persona, put it in the chat. Today, I want us to avoid sugarcoating, sidestepping, or skirting around issues. Let us be real. Let every speaker deliver raw insights, bold truths that challenge us, inspire us, and maybe even make us a little uncomfortable, because that's where real growth happens. Regardless of your speaker persona, whether direct, initiating, analytical, or supporting, you can talk straight. In my side chats with some of us, someone told me that this is an advanced club and this should be the home of straight talk. Talking straight is not a preserve of direct communicators, neither is it for initiating communicators only. Straight talk is about clarity over confusion, honesty over hype, and action over empty words. That's what we're going to do today. For the sake of our guests, our meeting is divided into 4 segments. Every meeting is called to order by the president, who proceeds to run the first segment, known as the business session. This has already been done. He hands over the meeting to the Toastmaster of the day, who happens to be me today. The meeting then proceeds to the prepared speeches segment, where members who are attempting projects based on the Pathways Learning Management System deliver their speeches. After a short break, we will reconvene for what is known as the table topics segment, where we all, including guests, get a chance to practice and test our impromptu speaking. We will wind up our meeting with the evaluation and feedback session, where prepared speakers will receive their verbal feedback from the evaluators, and the general evaluator with his team will give us feedback on how well the meeting was run. To run this meeting, I have with me a team of astute straight talkers. They are going to assist me to deliver no fluff, no filter, no fillers. Our theme today is straight talk. To help me introduce the straight talkers tonight, I administered an online questionnaire which informed me of their unique individual communication personas. It is now my pleasing pleasure and privilege to introduce to you our first astute straight talker. This is our timer. Our timer today is Toastmaster Fatma Amiyo. Toastmaster Fatma is both thoughtful and strategic. She takes time to analyze opinions, options, and make well-informed decisions. These are the characteristics of her principal speaker persona, which is analytical. Toastmaster Fatma, please tell us about your role.
Thank you very much, our Toastmaster of the day, for that warm introduction. As timer, I will be managing this infinite resource. I'll be timing the different segments of the meeting. As astute Toastmasters, we are expected to manage time. The prepared speeches will be between 5 and 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, I'll change my background to green. At 6 minutes, I'll change it to yellow. And at 7 minutes, I'll change it to red. For the table topic segment, we are expected to deliver our speeches between 1 and 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I will change my background to green. At 1 minute, 30 seconds, I'll change my background to yellow. And at 2 minutes, I'll change my background to red. For the evaluation segment, we have 3 different types of evaluators. The content and delivery evaluators will take 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I'll change to green. At 2 minutes, 30 seconds, I'll change to yellow. And at 3 minutes, I'll change to red. The evaluator minding on grammar has a minute. Therefore, at 30 seconds, I will change to green. At 45, I'll change to yellow. And at 1 minute, I'll change to red. At the end of the meeting, I'll be back to present my report, and we'll see whether we have been astute with time management. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Point of order, you are on mute. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Toastmaster Fatma, for that precise grammarian guideline. Timer, I beg your pardon. I now invite on the stage our timer. Our timer today is going to be Edna Wanjiku. She is our language cop. Please, Edna, tell us about your role today.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. My name is Edna and I'm Grammarian. My role as Grammarian tonight will be 1, to share the word of the day, which I shared on the group. The word of the day is astute, and thank you, TMD and Timer, for using the word of the day. I'm taking notes. The word of the day is actually an adjective. It means having or showing an ability to accurately assess situations or people and turn this to one's advantage. Its synonym is shrewd, sharp, smart, clever, brilliant, intelligent. It can also mean having or showing a practical cleverness or judgment. Example in a sentence: Watabaruku Toastmasters Club is littered with astute speakers. Another, that's for me. It was such an astute decision to take up a role at an advanced Toastmasters Club. I encourage every speaker to kindly use the word of the day and also to add it to your vocabularies. I will give the word of the day report once called upon. My other role tonight will be to serve as the R counter. So I'll be counting all our filler words, the R's, the arms, the so, the I, you know, and I'll give a report once called upon. I'll also evaluate the first and second speaker's language while called upon, and I will monitor and report on proper and improper use of the English language. That is my role tonight. Looking forward to an amazing and a scintillating meeting. Back to you, TMUD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Edna. It's now my pleasure to introduce our General Evaluator. Our General Evaluator tonight is Distinguished Toastmaster Brahm Memone. Brahm Memone is a master coach. In a world that often feels disconnected and impersonal, Brahm Memone shines as a beacon of humanity and empathy. Since 1993, he has devoted himself to the art of coaching and training, but what sets him apart is his genuine desire for connecting with people on a deep emotional level. That sounds to me like an initiating communicator. I don't know. Brahm, please introduce your role. You're on
Okay,
mute.
I'll begin again. I was talking already. Thank you very much for that introduction, Japheth Musau, Distinguished Toastmaster. My role here is to be very astute. And I'm going to be very astute today in my observations. As you can see, if I'm holding my phone and typing, I'm not sending text, I'm writing notes. I'm writing my notes, very detailed notes about what's going on here so that I can give you straight talk. I assume straight talk is to be really straight, astute. And I'm totally used to that. Absolutely. I'm authoritative, directive. So no holds barred. You'll get the straight goods. But I'm observing the meeting. I will give you feedback on that, and everything that I see is going well. I will also emphasize on things that go well. My empathy is tempered by why we are here. Why we are here is first, and then comes empathy. Empathy doesn't come before why we are here. So when I say empathy, I have great empathy, but it's tempered by why we are here. So it's going to be very direct, yet there's going to be empathy in it. Back to you, Distinguished Toastmaster Japheth Musau.
Thank you, Brahm Memone, DTM. Those fellow Toastmasters and guests are our Straight Talker team members. Together, we shall astutely guide this meeting for your comfort and ease of participation. Ladies and gentlemen, we now segue into the prepared speeches segment. Our first prepared speaker is Toastmaster Gladwell Mwiti. Toastmaster Gladwell is a direct communicator. This means that she is straightforward and clear. She communicates with purpose and expects the same from others. She will be assessed by 3 evaluators: the Grammarian for language, a content evaluator, and a delivery evaluator. To usher Gladwell onto the virtual stage, I now invite her content evaluator, Toastmaster Princess Eguchi, to tell us the objectives and the title of Gladwell's speech.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, I have the privilege of evaluating an astute Toastmaster, Gladwell Mwiti, who is pursuing the visionary communication path. This evening, she is attempting the 3rd project of level 2 with a speech whose purpose is for her to share some aspects of a previous experience as a protege. And while she does that, she is supposed to clearly define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring. Gladwell's speech title is Look Within. Look Within, Gladwell Mwiti, Look Within.
Toastmasters, where leaders are made. These are the words that linger in my mind every time I think about my mentor. Mentors offer encouragement and guidance to fellow Toastmasters as they continue to achieve their goals. I come from a club which was chartered last year in August. That means it is a new club. Majority of us were new members to Toastmasters, apart from only 2 members. Luckily, one of the old members took it upon herself to be our mentor, as had been instructed by her sister, who is our club sponsor. She took it up with a lot of passion and has led us to where we are today. As a club, we have managed to achieve several. Members have completed level 1, one has completed level 2, another has completed level 4, and several members have committed and are on their path to complete their first pathway in their first year. How have we done that? And how has our mentor walked this journey with us? Number 1, a mentorship journey is supposed to take a minimum of 6 months, and depending on how you agree with your mentor, it can take more. We are on our 8th month and still ongoing. Our mentor took her time physically online. She has sat with us. And by the way, our whole Ex-Course team is made up of all new members. She took upon herself, she took responsibility of us, she sits with us, she sat in our meetings, even the physical meeting with the ExCom members, to take us through this journey. What is required of us? What are the expectations? What are the goals set? What does this mean? She had the knowledge and experience, having been a club member before, walking the journey, being a president, and going all the way to being a district director. She knows Toastmasters by heart. When she would explain to us what is expected of us, she was passionate, supportive. Remember, I learned Toastmasters where leaders are made from her. This gave me a lot of energy as the club president. She showed me that we would make it. Personally, I've really benefited from her mentorship. She is very respectful and caring. She has never at one point ever instructed us or told us to do A, B, C, D. She will ask us questions and let you think about it. And as you answer the question, it leads and guides you to what you need to do. She's very committed and dependable. A good mentor is always available when you agree to meet. She has always been there during our meetings and sets apart time every week to meet with any member of the club who is available and is willing to be mentored. What have we done as the protege? How have we managed to achieve? I remember vividly when we had our first ExCom meeting. We sat very well, very eager to learn. We were set to achieve our goals. We wanted to know what is expected of us. We asked many questions, and we are always ready to seek guidance. We are always ready to get feedback and implement the feedback that we get from whoever is evaluating us. That is the spirit that has led us to where we are and the achievements that we have managed to achieve. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, a relationship between a mentor and protege is mutual. We all benefit from that relationship. Remember, the protege is experienced in other areas. And this, the mentor can also learn in these areas. I love that our mentor appreciated just the other day that I, as the club president, gave her tips on how you can push members to renew. The tips I gave them and how I guided them helped us to have majority of our members renew. Why? Because I am an expert in sales and marketing. In our team, we also have experts in business. I can tell you we have learned a lot from those team members. That is why it's a very important relationship. Very important as well to note, it doesn't matter how many years of experience you have, you always need a mentor. Doesn't matter how long you have been in Toastmasters, there is always something new that you can learn. A mentor helps you to look within yourself and identify those gifts and talents and ability that you have and you don't know that you have. That way, you're able to be self-confident and you're able to achieve your goals within the set timelines. In conclusion, fellow Toastmasters and guests, it is very important for us to be a mentor and to be mentored in our journey in Toastmasters. I pray that when I grow up, I can be a better mentor than my mentor as I mentor both in Toastmasters and out of Toastmasters. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gladwell. Let's appreciate Toastmaster Gladwell, emoticons, claps. Thank you for that wonderful speech on mentor-mentee relationship. And I agree with you. Mentors can also learn from their mentees, and you've given us a practical example. It's now my pleasure to introduce our next straight talker. Our next speaker to take the virtual lectern is Toastmaster Kevin Kimbio. Toastmaster Kevin is the astute president of Watabaruku Advanced Toastmasters Club. No wonder he is a direct communicator. His style is decisive, competitive, independent, and confident. He will be assessed by 3 evaluators as well: the Grammarian, Content Evaluator, and Delivery Evaluator. I now invite the Content Evaluator of Kevin's speech, Distinguished Toastmaster Anthony Wang'ondu, to kindly tell us the objectives and title of Kevin's speech and invite the speaker onto the virtual stage. Over to you, DTM Anthony.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day, Japheth Musau. It is my great pleasure to be the content evaluator for Kevin Kimbio, who is pursuing the presentation mastery path. Today, he is on level 2, the 3rd project, which, similar to the speech you've just had, is the introduction to Toastmasters mentoring. The purpose of this speech is for the member to define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring, and he will give us a speech to demonstrate how this has worked through a previous experience as a protege. The title of his speech is Beat the Inner Villain, Become the Hero. Beat the inner villain, become the hero. Kevin Kimbio, welcome to the virtual stage.
It's April the 3rd, 2025. And for those of you who don't speak numbers, that means yesterday. Hello, Dr. Rubia. And I'm attending the Division D conference. And as I'm attending the Division D conference, the contest speaker in this particular contest was one astute, elegant, and charming gentleman. With such qualities, you wouldn't expect him to come with simple and humble points. And true to form, he came out guns blazing. He came out with powerful points that had an impact and have lasted with me up until today. And one of my key takeaways from his speech was this: when you conquer the enemy within, the enemy without stands no chance. Fellow conquerors and welcome guests, my Toastmasters journey began many years ago. And unlike most people, it didn't start off as a bucket list item that needed to be checked off. No. Neither did it start off as an item that I just needed to put on my CV so that I can show prospective employers that I am growth-oriented. Absolutely not. Neither was it those well-meaning friends who would drag you into a Toastmasters meeting, kicking and screaming, "Hello, guests." And that wasn't it. My Toastmasters journey began out of necessity. My Toastmasters journey, just like every other great thing, began out of failure. You see, up until this point, despite all the accolades that I had gathered, despite all my accomplishments, there was one particular item that was still elusive to me. And that was the ability to stand in front of people and to compose one complete, coherent statement. Even to save my life, I wouldn't stand in front of even a virtual audience such as yourselves and compose one complete, coherent statement. Immediately, I would take to the stage and stand to speak in front of people. All my astuteness, all my composure, and everything that is holding me together would rise and evaporate into the netherworld. And I would be left drenched, sweating bullets with nothing to hold me together. This is exactly what happened when I gave my first icebreaker speech. I took to the lectern, stood behind the lectern, and held on to it as though I am holding on to dear life. Below me, my feet felt as though I am standing on thin ice. Did the ice break? Absolutely yes. Did I fall through? Yes, certainly I did fall through. Did I drown? I sure hope I did not drown because I'm standing in front of you this evening. In order for me to explain all these events to myself and just to give myself a little bit of comfort and to recover that lost dignity, I came up with two theories. And the first theory that I came up with was this: that maybe it was the dark forces that have conspired against me and have come to challenge my future. Or maybe it was the people back in the village who heard of my new adventure joining Toastmasters and are overworking to make sure that I do not succeed. My mentor would hear none of these theories. In a very non-judgmental way, she listened to my theories and debunked each and every one of them. She told me that probably next time I take to the lectern, instead of speaking from a script, probably I should speak more from the heart. She encouraged me to attend more and more meetings, and that by seeing other people make their own mistakes, probably that would put enough sand in my gizzard for my next project. She sweetened the deal a little bit further, and she told me that she will speak to the table topics master in whatever meeting I choose to attend, just to make sure that I don't get picked for the dreaded TT session. After 1 year of convincing, I decided, what the hell? Let me just get back and join a meeting. What is the worst that could happen? The only thing that would happen, probably, I would just sit down and stand up. When it was time to go, I would go. No roles taken. And I started to attend meetings once more. And just as the tempo was building up, just when I was about to hit crescendo and the habit of attending meetings was starting to form, the COVID-19 pandemic hit and everything ground to a halt. You can now see my previous theories starting to hold water. Here, I have empirical evidence, really, that probably there is something somewhere. Don't judge me yet. My mentor continued to encourage me. She told me now there are online meetings, there are online clubs that you can join and you can continue with your Toastmasters journey. And that is how I found myself in Watabaruku. And now in Watabaruku, a new challenge was added. At that point, I was speaking purely in English, but now I am speaking in Kiswahili. At Watabaruku, I was given another mentor, and I was surrounded by astute and seasoned speakers whom, from their indirect mentorship, I was able to learn and become a better speaker. Just as I was at the peak of enjoying myself at Watabaruku, a decision was made and I was elected to become president. And now I find myself once again at the deep end. I am now a leader of a club, and my exco is made up of all these accomplished and highly gifted individuals who are apparently looking up to me for leadership. You can imagine now my old theories coming back to life, can't you? In each and every step that I have taken as president, in every mistake that I have made, it has felt to me like a step towards greatness. The kind of mentorship that I have received from my exco community, from my exco team, has been just amazing. You see, in life, there comes a time when somebody can walk into your life with packing an impact that will impact you for the remainder of your life. Most of the time, these people are called mentors. I find comfort in the words of Curtis J. Jackson, also known as 50 Cent, an award-winning American artist, when he said that once you discover that the enemy, yourself, you are your own greatest enemy, then the sky is the limit. I am still on my journey to conquer my inner self. And I'm on this journey with the assistance of mentors. Are you? Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kevin, for that straight talk delivered with astuteness. I'm a quotes collector, and I picked one from you. Your mentor put sand in your gizzard. I borrow that. Very well done. A big applause for Toastmaster Kevin for that wonderful speech. This brings us to the end of the prepared speeches segment. And the Sergeant at Arms will launch the Better Speaker poll. We had Toastmaster Gladwell and Toastmaster Kevin. Before we take our comfort break, I want you to take a moment to discover your own communication style. I'm going to post a link in the chat. Go to it. It will take you to a communication persona questionnaire and will help you to answer a few questions to determine your communication persona. So let's be voting. We'll take a 5-minute break. Be back here after 5 minutes. That should be at 7:48.
But if I may, Toastmaster of the day,
Yes.
were we to call on to the delivery evaluator as well?
Delivery evaluator will come.
For Kevin. Okay.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. My apologies.
Thank you.
Friends, in this 5-minute break, I will launch 3 polls. 1 is for the better speaker and 2 are for audience feedback. Please give your feedback to the speakers that have spoken. Enjoy your break.
Right. I see it will be a working break. You have 3 links to look at.
Before I share some music, Toastmaster of the Day, have you shared the link in the poll? In the chat rather?
There it goes. Yes, there it comes up. It's there.
Thank you.
And welcome back. I think this is what they mean when they say time flies. We are back after a 5-minute break. A few words on communication and why knowing your communication style is important. Communication is a two-way process for reaching mutual understanding through verbal, nonverbal, and written messages. A communication style is the way in which individuals interact with one another and the messages they send, intentionally or not, through their behaviors and actions. Determining your own communication style can help you improve how you share information with others. Learning how to effectively communicate with styles different from your own will enable you to establish effective relationships and create better understanding. We now move to our impromptu speaking segment, known as Table Topics. To take us through the Table Topics session is none other than Toastmaster Ann Jeru. Toastmaster Ann has superpowers that lie in listening and creating harmony within a group. She is a predominantly supporting communicator. It means that she is often modest and prefers praise to be given privately. Over to you, Anne.
Thank you. Thank you so much, TMOD. Thank you for having me. And now we go straight to table topics. Table topics is one of the best way to practice thinking and speaking on our feet. In other words, impromptu speaking. We never know when we can be asked a tough question, either by a supervisor or a news crew or at job interview. It is our benefit to practice impromptu speaking and be in control of the situation, even if we don't know the exact answer. The more we practice this, the better we'll get. Table topics speeches should be between 1 to 2 minutes. First, I'll call a club member who do not have a meeting role, and then I'll call on guests within the allotted time. When you're called up, please do your best to speak between 1 and 2 minutes. And the first question I'll call upon Wahiga Gichinga. Are you there, Wahiga?
I am right here.
Thank you. What's one belief or value that you'd never compromise on? What is one belief or value that you would never compromise on? Over to you, Wahiga.
That's a difficult question because I have done a bit of life. And if I am to pick on something that I haven't compromised on for the many months and years granted on this universe, then I might end up saying perhaps nothing. But something comes to mind about my value. And one of the values that I hold so dear is the belief of a supreme being that guides the universe, a higher authority than myself or people in my world that guides our actions, our lives, and what to expect beyond a second from now. And that I have never questioned. Of course, there are so many things that make me wonder whether I still exist, especially when falling into pits or when bumping into life in a way that I didn't expect. But well, it then weaves in a way that makes it beautiful in the end, which makes me believe we exist and exist for a purpose. And that purpose, part of it is me as much as I'm part of society and I contribute to it in one way or another. It makes me see how we are woven together to be of value to one another, such that my existence is not for me alone. It's for example, Watabaruku, Toastmasters, so that I can give my contribution and I can also share in theirs. So one value is my belief in a higher or a supreme God. And back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Wahiga. My next question is to Wanjiru Muleithi. Wanjiru, are you there?
Good evening, Table Topics Master. Yes, I'm here. Unfortunately, I cannot switch on my camera, but I do hear you.
That's fine. My question to you this evening is, do you think people are driven more by love or fear? Are people driven more by love or fear?
I think people are driven more by love. And I think love has a stronger force in being able to make things happen. And I want to give an example of something I witnessed yesterday. I was traveling and I had to go through the security gate. And you know, you're not supposed to have any liquids over a certain amount. You're supposed to, of course, remove your shoes, remove your laptop. And that's the process. What I realized is I had carried this very hot coffee in a hot flask that I had with me, with the hope that by the time I reached the airport, it should have cooled down and I would be able to consume it and finish it before going through security. Unfortunately, it was still piping hot. By the time I approached the security desk. And so, number one, I was in Tanzania, so I also had to realize that Kenyans are very assertive. So of course my demeanor had to change. I approached the security personnel very, very, in a very humble manner and explained my situation. To my surprise, they actually allowed me to go through security with the contents of the hot water because there was nowhere to pour it out. Had I operated with fear and not asked or had to dispose of my beloved water bottle with my coffee, that would not have been the case. But I think in this case, love prevailed. My love of coffee, my humbling myself to be able to ask in a very kind, demure demeanor, to be asked to pass through. And that in essence then allowed me to go through this, which is not necessarily the norm. Fear, I don't think fear benefits anyone. I think love and approaching people in a way that is kind and connects is more powerful. So indeed, love makes the world go round. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much for that wonderful response. My next question goes to Frida Mwanyasi. Frida, are you there? If Frida is not there, maybe you could have George Mwaura.
I am ready.
Thank you, George. My question to you, or rather, I would want you to speak to your younger self. What advice would you give to young George Mwaura? Over to you, George.
If I take the journey back down the memory lane and meet the younger version of myself, I would tell myself two things. One, life ahead is a journey that needs to be embraced and hoped on without fear or considering so much things in life. Because when you're growing up, it's an opportunity to be able to try things out, even though you have to try it within the supervision or within the everyday challenges. I would tell myself to be free to try things out. The other thing is, I would tell my younger self that life ahead needs preparation. It needs the consideration of the future in terms of when you get a job, you need to be prepared, to have the knowledge to be able to tackle the challenges that come with the job. And that also, in addition to that, I would tell myself that education, as much as it was called the key, but life experiences and guidance from your older peers is what will keep you ahead in life. Back to you, the topics master.
Thank you, George, for that wonderful response. Now, my next question goes to a guest by the name Hannah. Is Hannah still with us? The second name is a bit difficult. Hannah, you're there. My question to you this evening is, how do you think your perspective in life has changed over the years? How do you think your perspective in life has changed over the years? Over to you, Anna.
Madam Table Topics Master, Yeah, let's have some astute, straight talk about the table topic theme you have given me. My perspective of life. Oh my, just repeat the question quickly. My perspective?
How do you think your perspective in life has changed over the years?
Oh yes, definitely. When I was younger, I was hard-headed, I was straightforward, I was spontaneous, and I just wanted to go through the wall, head on. But that didn't work for me because here and there I bumped my head terribly. Not that I've got bumps, but spoken like that. And I have changed. My first husband, my one husband said to me, Hannah, you have to mellow. My daughter told me, mother, slow down to a panic. You will not succeed with your performance if you go on like that. And I have mellowed, definitely. I have calmed down quite a lot. The urge for self-validation has gone. I have become a leader and a communicator, which I have learned through Toastmasters all along. And I am glad that I have joined them because my spontaneity has definitely calmed down. I have now gone to a level where I am calm, cool, calm, and collected. And I hope to say that. And all the other Toastmasters, like here, I see, do the same. Don't be hard-headed. Cool down, stay calm, be collected. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much, Anna, for that wonderful response. Timer, do we still have more time for questions? Or I can stop there or just ask another, just one.
You have time for one.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. My next question goes to Mary Ayondo. Mary, are you still there?
I'm present.
Thank you. My question to you is, if you could change one thing about human nature, what would it be? If you could change one thing about human nature, what could it be? Over to you, Nevi.
If I could change one thing about human nature, it would be greed. I would like to change the way people view greed. Greed is ruining our country. Greed is ruining everybody. We are not even considerate about other people. We put ourselves first. We want to fill our pockets. We don't see what is enough for us. We overindulge. I would really like to recommend that greed be done away with if it was possible. If I could change that, I would definitely change greed. I would like to urge all of us within this meeting, don't be greedy. It takes us nowhere. It is a selfish act. No astute leader or Toastmaster should be greedy. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, please don't be greedy. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster. Madam Table Topics One.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mary, for that wonderful response. And now I'll take this meeting back to Mr. TMOD, Japheth Musau. Back to you.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. We'll now proceed to vote for the best table topic speaker. Will be on your screen in a minute. There you go. Keep voting. We're at 54% voted, 62%, 69%, keep voting. I think 80% is a good threshold. We now proceed to our evaluation and feedback segment. Thank you, Toastmaster Anne, for that wonderful table topic session. Our first speech evaluator tonight is going to be the content evaluator for Gladwell Mwiti's speech. This will be Toastmaster Princess Eguchi. A little bit about Princess. She's predominantly a direct communicator. This means, on top of being straightforward and clear like the other direct communicators we have seen, she measures progress by achievements and success, and is motivated by challenges. Princess will evaluate Gladwell's delivery and then pass on the virtual microphone to the content evaluator, Toastmaster Wahiga Gichinga. A bit about Toastmaster Wahiga. Her pace is fast and decisive, and she likes a busy, efficient, structured, and formal environment. These are qualities I'm sure she is leveraging on in her role as Division C Director. Princess Eguchi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Toastmasters, where leaders are made. Gladwell, that was your opening statement, and it captured my attention because as much as I know where it's coming from, I've heard it before, I was intrigued to see how you build on it. And you did a fantastic job of that because your whole story of mentorship was based on mentorship as the exco of your club. That means you are being mentored to be leaders. So you did a good job on that. The other thing I liked about the content of your speech is that it had a clear structure. It had the opening, a clear body, and a conclusion. The other thing I liked is that your content was also peppered with examples, illustrations, and facts. Examples, when you told us how you sold an idea to your mentor about club membership renewals. Illustrations, when you demonstrated how you and your fellow EXCO members sat down to listen attentively to your mentor. And then facts, how as a new club, all the EXCO members are new. Your speech also had lessons to learn about the mentor-protege relationship. As with everything, there's always room for improvement. So what do I think you can improve on? One is, as much as your speech was peppered with all these lessons, I would have expected you to summarize or condense these lessons before you conclude your speech and tell us in summary, what are the lessons that you learned from your experience as a protege? The other thing is that as much as your content was serious, educative, and you are telling us about how to be a protege and the mentor-protege relationship, I felt that you could have injected a little humor in that speech to make it even better, to enrich your content. So all in all, it was a great speech full of lessons. I like that it had a clear structure, opening, body, and conclusion. You used examples, illustrations, and facts, and the information that you gave us was valuable with lessons to learn from. If you could incorporate the summarizing of points before you finish and try to incorporate some humor as part of your content, it will move your speech from good to better and to best. And with that, I would like to congratulate you for reaching the end of level 2. I would now like to call upon the delivery evaluator, Wahiga Gichinga. Over to you, Wahiga.
Thank you, Princess. Gladwell, Mwiti. You're passionate about mentorship, and I think it's lightly so as one of the pillars that anchors Toastmasters. I'm looking at your delivery of your speech, and if I could look at the body language, I liked your hand gestures. I like the way you use your fingers to count and to emphasize a point. You had great eye contact, which we felt seen as you spoke to us. Now, when I talk about gestures, at the beginning of your conversation, somehow you went back to clasped hands, which spoke to a bit of nervousness. But as you progressed, you were actually quite more expressive with your hands, which showed comfort and also aware that you of your audience, and you are more expressive. Something else to note is the pointing of a finger. When you point at an audience like that, it looks like a warning. So when you work with your fingers, especially at the beginning, be careful so that you never point at an audience, because it may not be perceived well. But all in all, I think you used your gestures well, and I was happy to see how you used it. Something else you did that I noticed was use of a prop, and that was a seat. And I was curious about what you would do with a seat, which was good because you took up to a sitting and broke up from the conversation we had to a different environment. You had a conversation. And when you do that, it would be important to break from the normal conversation to get us into the other conversation. And ways you can do that perhaps is use of a dialogue, or point out how a conversation that happened at that different scenario affected you, made you feel, made you resolve. That way, you get us into the room that you were taking us to with the prop. Let me talk about voice. You have a very good voice. I love your intonation. You have a conversational tone when speaking to your audience, which is more relatable too and easy to buy into whatever you're saying. You had a flexible voice. I like that. I like that you had rhetorical questions that help us think. And what would I want to say about this? This is about straight talk, so I'm happy to give this conversation without sugarcoating it as much. One is the pace. I found that you were running out of breath, and as much as there was so much fact in your speech, it more looked like one big block, right from the opening body and conclusion, because you spoke so fast. Something to be conscious of, especially if you're a fast speaker. I am also a fast speaker. I have to be conscious to exactly get the point across and carry my audience with me, is to pause. Pause to breathe, pause to move from one point to another, pause to allow the audience to catch up with you. And the last one I would want to highlight is consider engaging the audience. And in engaging the audience, I would perhaps ask you to pose a question and allow us to engage with you. And the last one is have purposeful movement, especially when either you have the opening, body, and conclusion, or the main point, so that you're not just moving, but it's intentional. All in all, I loved your good posture, your hand gestures, your eye contact, your conversational tone. Check on your pace and pause, and keep speaking, Gladwell. But I want to hand over these to the Grammarian, Edna, Wanjiku.
Thank you, Evaluator. Gladwell, look within. That was a beautiful, beautiful title. I loved your choice of words. I felt your choice of words were okay, but you can do better. I loved when you say these words linger in my mind. When you said, and a lot of other things that you said, but I felt your language had a lot of repetition. Like when you said, our relationship is a mutual relationship. We all benefit from this relationship. I felt there was a lot of repetition, and that ate into your speech and ate into your time. I wish you said something like, with a mentor and protege, a mutual relationship is encouraged. That is straight and direct and gives you more time to speak. Another is, I felt you over-explained about mentorship. I'm not your evaluator, but I felt that in your grammar, you're over-explaining. I wish you gave a story. Stories are enchanting. They pull people in and they flow with the story better than when you're just explaining. Some improper language was, she took upon herself. You should have said she took it upon herself. She gave me a lot of energy. A beautiful word to say was, this made me zealous. As grammarian, mine is to own your speech. And I feel if you get more captivating and alluring words, that will make your speech, will move your speech from good to better. Otherwise, you're a very adept speaker. I love the whole speech. Work on more words and you will have an awesome speech. Thank you, and over to you, TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Edna. Our next evaluator giving feedback on Toastmaster Kevin Kimbio's speech content is DTM Anthony Wang'ondu. He's a past district director of District 114, and his predominant speaking persona is, anybody want to guess? Put it in the chat. Anyone? Somebody got it right. His predominant communication style is supporting. What does this mean? His style is calm, steady, approachable, sincere, and gentle. I couldn't describe him any better. He's empathetic and values teamwork. His strength lies in listening and creating harmony within a group. After his evaluation, DTM Anthony will pass on the virtual baton to the delivery evaluator, Toastmaster Christine Oyugi. Toastmaster Christine is a direct communicator. She's decisive, competitive, independent, and confident. Because she's focused, result-oriented, she is perceived as ambitious, goal-oriented, and driven. Distinguished Toastmaster Anthony, over to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day, Japheth. And to you, Speaker of the Day, Kevin Kimbio, thank you for blessing us with this speech. It was a speech that brought out your vulnerability. You bared your soul to us, and we were able to see the authenticity of your message just by listening to you tell a very personal story. The purpose of this speech was for you to define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring and to share some aspect of an experience you have had in the past as a protege. Let me start by highlighting the structure, which I think was one of your very strong points, an excellent part of your performance as a speaker today. You started off with a startling question, a startling statement, and you said April 3rd, 2025. And for those of us who cannot count, me included, that was yesterday. And that got us, it eased the audience, it makes us sort of smile a little bit and ease into your speech and focus on you. So a very excellent way of opening your speech. You then started off by telling us how you're the why for your why for joining Toastmasters, out of necessity, out of failure, and how public speaking skills were pretty elusive for you. You highlighted the various failed attempts, including how scary and it gets heart-wrenching the icebreaker was when it came to Watabaruku. The other thing I really liked was when you went into the body was how well you described these aspects of your experience. And then when you closed, you gave us a challenge as well. And you started off with a quotation from 50 Cent, where you said, when you discover the enemy is within, the sky is the limit, and then you threw us a challenge. Excellent structure, well curated content, and obviously you have worked very well with your mentor in developing this speech. So what are some of the areas I feel that you could improve in terms of your content? One of the questions was, how does Toastmasters envision mentoring? And especially here in comparison to coaching, which tend to be quite a confusing area. That is one of the areas that didn't quite come out, and I think it would have come out as part of your storytelling. There's opportunity for you to do that. The other thing that I would like to highlight is that you could also have highlighted some negative aspects of the relationship that you have also learned from your mentorship experience. You did mention at one point you got several other mentors, and maybe that would have been an opportunity for you to contrast and compare. My challenge to you would have been also to highlight some of the things that you're taking forward, you as a mentor, to your future mentees. I really enjoyed this speech. It was quite interesting. It was one that was heartwarming because you bared your soul to us, you showed your vulnerability, and your authenticity came through. I would now like to invite the delivery evaluator, Christine Oyugi, Madam Area Director, please take over.
Thank you so much, DTM. Anthony, 3rd April 2025. That's a long, long time, isn't it? That captured us, Anthony, and it captured me right there. I walked with you throughout your speech. You are such an astute speaker. What am I going to look at today? I'm going to evaluate you based on your physical appearance, the body language, the voice flexibility, volume, and platform style, that is directness, assurance, and enthusiasm. You did excellently in those areas. For the physical, your appearance was easy and comfortable, a little bit humorous, as the t-shirt had a cool zebra or giraffe, whatever it was. I really liked it. The body language, great use of body language with illustrative gestures for the various aspects of your speech. You made use of eye contact, and we could relate with you. We were walking with you. You caught us. You did not leave us behind. How about your voice? There was vocal clarity coupled with enthusiasm in your speech delivery. Your volume was on point. How about your platform style? I like your directness while delivering your speech. You hit the nail on the head without meandering or trying to look for words. A very assuring or reassuring speech that was. Your speech was really, really great. But how can we make it awesome, amazing speech? Body language. You had opportunities to make your body language be aligned with what you were saying. For example, when you say the deep end, you could take us to that deep end. The sky is the limit. I was left drenched. You could perhaps dramatize a little bit. Maybe I'm a drama queen, but that would really help us relate well with your speech. Again, I felt you may have overused your hands a lot. You clasped your hands so many times to show that maybe you are fidgety or not very comfortable at some point. You may need to look at that. How about your voice? You excelled in vocal clarity. However, it was a bit monotonous. There were areas where you could make use of vocal variety. Like I was screaming and kicking. You went, I was screaming and kicking. I don't think that is how any of us scream and kick. We really scream. How about use of stage? The stage is yours. Can you make use of it? Don't stay at one place. Move around. How about use of visual aid?
You had opportunities where you could improvise a lecture, for example, to show us how you are drenching in your sweat. Other than that, your speech was extremely amazing, splendid speech that was. If you could only work on those areas, we are going to move this speech to amazing and an awesome speech. Well done, Kevin. Over to you, Madam Grammarian, to give your grammarian report.
Thank you, Evaluator Christine. Over to my grammarian report, and that was such a riveting speech. Kevin, beat the inner villain, become the hero. I loved 4 things from your speech. One is your use of descriptive language. The way you describe things, they're so surreal, you can almost feel them or touch them. Another is your use of imagery. Imagery is good. You get us thinking, you get our minds into what you're saying. That is beautiful. Another is the good use of grammar. You had an excellent choice of words that were in tandem with your speech. Words like, this is one of the description: astute, elegant, charming. You were describing someone. When you said he came gun blazing, that was beautiful. When you said gathered accolades, that is imagery. We can see you gather accolades. I love your good use of grammar. I'm one person who loves rhythm. So when you say compose one complete coherent sentence, I love that. And also left drenched, we could think about it. What I feel you can work on is a bit of improper. Your speech was littered with beautiful grammar. Just 2 things I picked. One, when you said, that is how I found myself in Watabaruku. You're such an adept speaker. You could have said, that's how I landed at Watabaruku. And the other one was, most of the time, these people are called mentors. You should have said, mostly known as mentors. Makes it simple and easy and beautiful. Otherwise, my work is to spruce up your grammar, but I think you just did mine. So thank you. Over to you, TMD.
Thank you very much. Madam Grammarian, would you like to proceed with your general report while you're at it?
Yes. I don't see the timer, but yes, I think I can. Thank you very much. I'll start with the usage of the word of the day. We had 8 speakers use the word of the day. The TMD used it so many times, thank you, but around 4 times. I caught 4 times. The timer once, the general evaluator twice, the first evaluator once, the second speaker 3 times, and Hannah in her table topics used it once, Nelly used it once, and the second speaker used it once. Words, quotes, and thoughts that I liked. Like I said, I love everything. So when our TMD says, no fluff, no fillers, no filter, just straight talk, that caught me. When he said, clarity over confusion, honesty over high, action over empty words, plum, pleasing, pleasure, and privilege, that gets me all the time. When he said this should be the whole of straight talk, Watabaruku, that was beautiful. Others that I loved, beacon of humanity, a kind demeanor, demure demeanor, cool, calm, and collected, capture attention, intrigue, peppered, I love this one, peppered with examples. So much is packed, a visual, goal-oriented person. I loved elusive, put sand in my gizzards, debunked, I should check this up, hit crusader, that was very nice. Improper use of our English language was like when a speaker said, like I said, she took upon herself, she should have said she took it upon herself, takes time apart every week, too much, you could have said sets time apart. Another was that has been just amazing. To spruce it out, you should have said that was simply amazing. It would have been better. As a counter, As our counter, I think we are all astute speakers. I did not pick anything. My counter list is blank. So we have not used any filler words, and that was beautiful. I loved every speaker, the use of the word of the day. Kindly let this word be part of your vocabulary. It will just spruce up your language. Thank you, and back to you, TMOD.
Thank you very much, Madam Grammarian. I now invite our timer, Toastmaster Amiyo. Please give us your report.
Very much, our Toastmaster of the day. We did extremely well on time. The prepared speeches, both our speakers were within time, and that was astute of each of you. Gladwell Mwiti took 7 minutes, 30 seconds. Kevin Kimbio took 6 minutes, 50 seconds. That was within time. For the table topic segments, Wahiga Gichinga took 1 minute, 42 seconds. Wanjiru Murithi took 1 minute, 55 seconds. George Maura took 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Hannah Schmitz took 1 minute, 41 seconds. And Nelly Ayodo took 1 minute, 4 seconds. All of them were within time. For the evaluation segment, both the delivery and content, 2 to 3 minutes. Evaluator Princess Eguchi took 2 minutes, 58 seconds. Wahiga Gichinga took 3 minutes, 46 seconds. Anthony Wang'ondu took 3 minutes, 46 seconds. And Christine Oyugi took 3 minutes, 23 seconds. For the Grammarian evaluation segment, Edna Wanjiku, the first speech took 1 minute 55 seconds, and the second speech 1 minute 54 seconds, which was within time. So I believe we have checked and confirmed that we are astute Toastmasters when it comes to time management. Thank you for the opportunity, and back to you.
Thank you, Madam Timer. We now proceed to our general evaluation, and I invite our general evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster Brahm Memone.
Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Japheth Musau. When I was asked to become a general evaluator, I asked Kevin Rubia, what do you need from me? What should I look for? And he said, apart from preparation for the meeting and execution of each speaker and functionary, I should focus on whether Watabaruku has set itself apart as an advanced club, in my opinion, and what you can do to improve. I shall go through the actual meeting from the before it started to the pre-meeting to the end of the meeting until this moment here. Pre-meeting is very, very important for any club, advanced or not advanced. We need to be well organized, and I found that you are very effective at organizing yourselves and in communicating effectively with each other. You had the WhatsApp group going, and you constantly reminded people in the group who the speakers were, what they were doing, what the expectations were, and so on. Very well done. You were very effective in doing that. I love it when the pre-meeting is set out well. So congratulations to Watabaruku members. That's what, at the meeting today, when I entered the room, the first thing that I noticed was I was in the room for maybe 2-3 minutes before somebody said, "Oh, hi, hello, Brahm." So that's the first thing for improvement. I'm just going by timing rather than saying, here's what you're effective at and here you can improve. I'll just go and wherever you did well, I'll tell you you did well, where you can improve, right? I'm just going by the time. So the guests were not greeted immediately. They entered the room. The room was silent, and you were trying to sort out the agenda. The agenda should have been sorted out much, much before. If you wanted to sort out the agenda, you should open the meeting much earlier so that when the guests arrive or your invited guests arrive, they're greeted immediately. You only get 30 seconds to make a first impression. Okay, so that's that. Start of the meeting, I didn't quite hear the club mission being read, or maybe I did. Did I miss it? It's not necessary. Not all clubs do that, but you could consider that. But on the other hand, I also noticed that what is so unique about Watabaruku, and why you're an advanced club, and that wasn't mentioned at the start of the meeting for the guests, right? At the advanced club that I run, for example, and I'll only give it as an example, I don't say it's perfect, all right, is that we have a unique selling proposition that we read out as to why we are an advanced club. The Sergeant at Arms who opens the meeting reads that actually. As well, as soon as you start the meeting, the agenda ought to be there. It was posted 12 minutes later and then 23 minutes later, as you can see in the chat. I didn't see a guest sign-in form either. All right. What were you excelled at as you started the meeting was you went around the room asking everyone one word, and you included everyone as to what that one word was. And first you went through the important people in the room, then you greeted the guests. And you had a small game as well to sort of make people feel comfortable, which is an advanced club, so I found that very surprising for me. I would have thought of that more as a community club for members who are just starting out, they're nervous, they don't know what they're doing. I would have thought that sort of a game would be appropriate there. But you guys enjoy it, and if your guests enjoy it, you're welcome to do that, of course. And you excelled at the introduction of the Toastmaster of the day, and the distinguished Toastmaster Japheth Musau came on, and I saw an experienced Toastmaster take charge, very direct, told us there was no fluff in this meeting, and he meant it. And I love that. Actually, that was the wrong word. I shouldn't say that. I loved it. You excelled at that, DTM Japheth Musau. The role was very effectively done. You introduced the theme. You explained the meeting. However, you went through the agenda. That's not necessary for an advanced club because all your guests are already experienced Toastmasters who want to join an advanced club. They're not brand new guests. They've just come in out of nowhere. So that part was unnecessary. There are things that as an advanced club already, the people, the guests, and the members already know very well. So you could say the agenda is posted in the chat, and we are going to go according to the agenda. Done. Save time. For example, as well, when and I only took the note once. For example, when the Grammarian was introduced by their name, she came on and said, "Hi, my name is Edna," but you already introduced as Edna. You don't have to say, "Hi, I'm Edna." We know you are Edna, right? So just going to, this is what I'm doing. This is what I look for. Here's the word of the day, and continue. For example, that would be one of those things. However, I also noticed that. And it could be just the environment where we find in, right? There were sounds of children playing in the background at that time as well when there was introduction of the Grammarian. But I mean, we don't all have quiet facilities, but I noticed that is what I'm saying. I was introduced as well at the beginning, like many other people were, and I had a very old introduction that was mentioned here at that point in time. Introduction from maybe a couple of years ago or a year ago when I came to Watabaruku. I wasn't asked for my introduction, and I totally forgot to ask Kevin, "Hey, do you have my introduction? Do you need one?" So that could have been a bit better. Then we went into speeches. So here's a question for an advanced club. The speeches that you do at an advanced club, would they be different than in a community club? And how would they be different? And do you emphasize on that in your training outside of the meetings? Or in the meetings, should you sort of tell us why the speaker should be different or the speeches should be different? Or are they going to be the same as in a community club? So that's an important thing for you guys to consider is, should the speeches be different, or how could they be sort of created differently? How could the content be put together differently? So that's one thing to consider as to the next level of what an advanced club really is. Why are we here? What's this advanced club? What is our unique selling proposition? Why do we exist? And so those are the things that you may want to consider, Kevin, Rubia, and Kevin, of course, the president as well. We as I said, you were very effective at introducing the speakers and all the roles. You had that down packed. Thank you, DTM Japheth Musau, for that. I was wondering why you had. It's a new to me. That's why I'm wondering. Is you had the green light and the yellow light, and there was times rolling backwards in the timer. It was a timer. It was not a stopwatch. To begin with, as it is, because we are Toastmasters, we do not show the time. We only show the cards. The reason being, when you're in a contest, you don't see the time. You just see the cards, right? And you have to speak accordingly to the cards. And when the red card comes on, you know you have 30 seconds or you'll be disqualified, but the time is never shown, no matter what. That is for making sure that the speaker understands and knows, rather than being given the warning that is counting down the time and then the music is an advanced. That may be for a community club where people are trying to sort of contend with, oh, what is 7 minutes? What is that? But in an advanced club, for me, what I think is that could have been avoided. But again, you have a club culture, so you would want to consider that yourselves. You were effective at the audience feedback poll. I have never seen that before, and perhaps I'll be looking at how we can do that effectively at my advanced club. Very well done. That was very effective. You had a break for 3 minutes. It was you were effective at that. There were polls and questionnaires, a form for discovering your speaker persona. Good. Then you went on to your table topics. As table topics go, that was delivered well, effective. However, again, the question is, you are in an advanced club, so what sort of questions should you have? If they're the same as in a community club and the answers are the same as in a community club, then do you need table topics? If it's an advanced club, what sort of table topics would you have? Consider that. And I have no idea what. We don't have table topics in my advanced club because we said that's for community clubs. We are here, our focus is on leadership training and development. That's the reason why we do that. Evaluations. Coming to the evaluations and evaluators, and what I've noticed at your evaluations is this. The evaluators always say, I loved this, right? I liked that. I was happy with this. These are all fluff words. Very fluff words, and don't use those words at all in an advanced club. What could you do instead? See, this is now where you really get into advanced. Because if you were a manager and you were giving feedback to your subordinate or an employee that reports to you, you would sit that employee in front of you, and you are the manager. You are male, for example, and there's a female subordinate or team member that you're giving a review of. You say, hey, Mary, I loved this about you. Would you say that? I like this very much about you. Consider that. You are training here for the real world. See, between the advanced club and the real world, there's no curtain. There's no dividing line. Whatever you're doing here is you'll do in the real world. So you're training here for the real world. There's no stop between here and the real world. In community club, yeah, maybe there's a stop. People don't quite know exactly what they're doing. They're just beginning to get comfortable with speaking. But here, you would say, Mary, you excelled at this. You excel at your job. Here's what you do well. Here you could be very effective. And here is where you can excel, and that will take you to greatness. Did you hear me, Mary? Yeah? So that is the languaging you have to use. And when you begin to use that languaging, you'll find that as an evaluator, you'll feel more empowered to give no fluff evaluation, which is direct and to the point, and the speaker will really get it. Right? I loved, so what? It is for what was the audience's takeaway. So that's the other thing. The evaluators didn't mention anywhere what was the audience's takeaway. Was it an audience's takeaway? As a speaker in an advanced club, you need to think about what is the audience's takeaway in the end? What am I leaving the audience with? If it is about mentoring, become a mentor. And here's how you can become a great mentor. right? If it's about mentoring, for example, or whatever that speech is. Even in an icebreaker, this is an advanced club, in an advanced club, an icebreaker should not be about, I was born on a farm and I had 5 siblings. It should be more about what am I doing in the world and what could I do better in the world, or where am I going with, what are my goals, right? And then the evaluator would evaluate based on what did you excel at and where you could be more effective and you could excel at better, and so on, and summarize it well. In summary, when an evaluator is summarizing, don't repeat the whole what you said. It should be just one line, because you only had 3 minutes for the evaluation. So that 30 seconds only for summary. Having said that, let me look at my notes here. Otherwise, besides that, the evaluators did a good job. They did excel at looking at various different things about the content, the grammar, the delivery. They looked at those things very well and did that job effectively. So being an advanced club, of course, you have broken down the role into 3 different parts, and you've done those things well. So the only thing in the evaluations part is the languaging, right? And how you sort of say what you want to say without the fluff. When you say I love, I like, and all that, those are things are fluff. And I explain why. So having said all that, I would like to commend you guys on a very, very well organized meeting. You are highly effective at the way you organize yourself. It is not a community club the way you have organized yourself. You were totally straightforward, and the expectations were there for that. So Kevin Rubia and Kevin, the president, I hope I've given you some as to what to do to take it to the next level. And of course, you go to pick and choose, of course, what you want to do if you want to. Otherwise, that is my general evaluation. Over to you, distinguished Toastmaster Japheth Musau. You're muted, sir. Still muted.
Japheth, you're still muted.
I beg your pardon. Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Brahm, Memone. An astute, concise general evaluation will definitely help us to go to the next level. Thank you to my team of straight talkers, Grammarian, Timer. Job well done. Have we voted for the best evaluators? Did we forget that?
Yes.
Quickly do that for a minute. There you have it on your screen. %, voted. 64, good pace, good pace. 73, excellent. 82% is a good threshold. We promised you no fluff, no fillers, no filters, and we meant it. Today we've stripped away the noise, ditched the small talk, and got straight to the heart of the matter. We challenged ideas, we spoke truths, and we sparked conversations that don't just end here, but are just beginning. Mr. President, it's been a pleasing pleasure to run this meeting. I now hand it over back to you.
Thank you so much, Japheth Musau, DTM, for a meeting well run. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in a strong round of applause for our Toastmaster of the evening for our meeting well run. Thank you so much, TMOD, Japheth Musau. It is always refreshing to have you with us, and we always look forward to seeing you more and more in our meetings. Thank you to all the role takers, the evaluators, the grammarian, all the speech takers, and all who took part in preparing for this meeting. Special thanks goes to our Sergeant at Arms, who has been playing a very crucial role in this behind the scenes of this meeting. Thank you also very much to our general evaluator, shooting straight from the hip. Definitely, we look forward to improve on the points that you've mentioned. At this point, I will invite our Sergeant at Arms and ask him if the polls are ready. Sergeant at Arms.
Yes, they are. Here they are. Thank you all for participating actively in the chat when called upon by the various speakers. These are your results. Congratulations to the following: Wanjiru Muredi for bagging the Best Table Topics Award. For the Best Evaluator, we had a tie between Princess Eguchi, Vice President Education, Sema Toastmasters Club, and DTM Anthony Wang'ondu of the same club and Tandao Toastmasters Club. Last and not least, our president bagged the Best Speaker Award. Congratulations to you. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Sergeant at Arms. Congratulations to all the role takers. And now at this point, I'd like to just sample from the guests, just get a little bit of a sample on how they found our meeting and probably where they think we could improve. I'll invite one guest in the interest of time. And at this point, I will invite Hannah Schmidt. Hannah, probably you could give us a little bit of feedback on how you found our meeting this evening.
Yes, excellently run. I've put my comments into the chat box as well. Thank you very much. The Toastmaster of the day, he excelled in his role, definitely. Table topics were excellent. Everybody, first thing that I know that a speaker has got 3 evaluators. A grammarian for the content and for the delivery. Excellently done for that. That's the first time that I've heard about that you've got 3 evaluators for 1 speaker. And I just loved it, and maybe I'll come again next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Very
much,
well
Anna.
run. Very well run.
We really look forward to having you over and over. And at Watabaruku, you will always get this kind of in-depth evaluations. Thank you so much, and looking forward to seeing you more and more. At this point in time, allow me to welcome the past District Director, Anthony Wang'ondu, for a brief announcement. Over to you, Anthony.
Thank you very much, Mr. President Kevin Kimbio, and for allowing me to take a couple of minutes of the club's time. In the year 2018-2019, I served as the District Club Growth Director, and I had a team of 7 people across the district who were helping me in that role. We ended the year as smedley distinguished in terms of the number of clubs and the number of members that we were able to add. And I am extremely grateful to the people that helped me during that period. I know it's a little bit belated, but I still feel it's important to recognize and to thank those individuals. And one of those people is a member of Watabaruku. And I would like to, at this point, just in the presence of his club members, thank him and appreciate him for his service on my CGD committee. And that gentleman is Eric Alligator Macquarie. And in that, and to commemorate that, I have a little gift here. I don't know whether he can see it. It is our core values coin. It has the values of Toastmasters at the back and the Toastmasters in the front. Unfortunately, this is a virtual meeting. I'll have to figure out how to get it to him, but please accept my heartfelt appreciation and thanks. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you so much, Anthony Wang'ondu, DTM. And on behalf of our club secretary, Alligator Macquarie, I say thank you. And hopefully he will get his pin, not virtual, but physically to him. Oh, Alligator, you're in. Maybe, Alligator, you could receive your own virtual gift.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate It's a tremendous surprise. Sorry, I was on the road, so I've not been on video. I look forward to receiving the pin. Thank you, our past district director.
Thank you so much, Alligator Makori. I am reminded that tomorrow, at Division D, we are going to have the physical Division D conference. It's going to start at 9:30 a.m. and it is going to be held at the Standard Chartered headquarters in Westlands. Hoping to see all of you there for a day well spent growing and learning from the best. At this point, allow me to notify you of our next meeting, which will be on the 2nd of May. We have opted to skip the next meeting, which was supposed to be on April the 18th, because it falls on a public holiday. Therefore, see you all once again on the 2nd of May, 2025. And with that said and done, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to bring this meeting to a close. It has been a pleasure to have you with us this evening. It has been a night well spent. Good night, and God bless everyone.